It's a 2 and a 5 for Roquan Smith. He is going from the Bears to the Ravens. So that's tough. I think for the Cowboys, the thing to keep in mind is it's not only the draft compensation, but the salary that's going to come after. And if you don't have enough slotted to pay an inside linebacker, you make a trade for Roquan Smith, it'll become like a rental player situation, or you give $20 million. You got to pay Diggs and Lamb. It becomes complicated. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that the Cowboys didn't go all in for Smith because there's a better player or a better fit that they're interested in. Here's Broadus with Krusty's Corner.
Yeah, I thank you very much, John. I appreciate that. To me, if I know after what I heard Jerry Jones comment to Kevin Gray last night, if I'm those guys driving home, I'm now trying to find the best player. I'm going out. I'm like, okay, we got a GM that's interested in moving and getting this thing done. So I'm all for that. That's what pro personnel guys do. Go come up with 10 names. Come up with 10 of the best names you can. And maybe it's not even guys we're thinking about right now.
Yeah.
Maybe it's not Odell Beckham and the guy down in Houston at wide receiver.
It usually goes that way. You talk about a group of guys, and then like Jonathan Hankins shows up. You're like, well, I hadn't even really considered Jonathan Hankins, but this is perfect.
If the owner and general manager is willing to go, let's go. Let's do this. Let's go hit a home run with this thing. And I can't give you the name right now. I'll call around and try and find names, but if I'm all in with him. If that's what we need to do, let's go do it.
You want to go make a splash now?
I want to go help this team, because I see what's going on in the NFC right now. I think he does too. I think he sees what's going on in Green Bay and Tampa and places like that.
Yeah, there's opportunity.
There's opportunity. Go find a way to get in the tournament the way you need to be.
Jerry Jeudy.
You know what? After watching Kellen Moore manipulate offense yesterday and use some guys, I didn't think he had it in him, but he did. He did a good job of calling that game. Jerry Jeudy would make some sense to me. But, that's one of those things that, like I say, you saw creativity yesterday with the offensive coordinator. Put CeeDee Lamb in the backfield, fakes some RPO stuff with him, gets tight ends in bunch formations, throws like 4 straight plays, 2 of them screens. Mm-hmm. You saw what Gavin was talking about, the running play off the goal line, where he had, by the way, Dak had Gallup open. I think he was afraid to throw it. There was a linebacker that you couldn't tell really by the end zone copy where he was. I mean, how close it was. But I think Dak felt like he just didn't want to throw the ball on the line because he might have had it intercepted. But,
was that on the rollout where Ferguson falls down?
Yeah.
And he just kind of throws it away?
Well, he threw it to Lamb. I mean, no, he threw it to Gallup in the back. And then the next play, they ran Dak on the
different.
play.
Okay, different.
Yeah, they had, he boots out to his right, and he's got Gallup running the back line, and he's got separation.
Yeah.
And he didn't probably feel like that he could fit it to where he needed to fit it. And by the way, if I could talk about his interception, that's not on him. That's not
really?
on him. No, they're running. It's on.
Lamb's
it's on
got to come in.
Lamb. With the way the combination of the routes are, the tight ends hold the linebackers in place, and then you have a safety that's playing deep. If the route is designed for him for Lamb to run through the middle, and he went too wide. He never got back to the middle of the field, and that's what Prescott thought he was going to be. So Prescott's going to try and throw the ball between the linebackers and the safety, with the in cut coming with Lamb. He hesitates, he holds up. It's like he's not really sure, but his responsibility is to get through the middle of the field right there with the combination they had.
And get more flat because he keeps it too vertical.
Kept it too vertical. He needs to get flat on the route.
Okay.
I guarantee you, McCarthy, we'll see. McCarthy will maybe say something. Maybe Kellen Moore. They have the OCs talking today. But if you look at the route combination the way it is, that ball, Dak threw the ball where it needed to be for the route to where it was supposed to be run that flat. So
yeah, it seemed like he was almost like it felt like he was borderline giving up on the route because he felt like I'm running right into a safety.
Yeah.
Like from CeeDee Lamb's perspective, it's like there's no way I'm getting the ball here.
Yep.
And then he sees it's in the air and he tries to speed up.
It's
but
too
yeah,
late.
he didn't take it flat enough,
Yeah.
and the safety's easily just able to step up there.
Yeah, I thought that Dak might have not seen the safety. There's no way in hell he didn't see that safety.
Yeah,
I mean,
bright orange.
well, right in the middle of the field too at depth. He's trying to throw the ball underneath him is what. And if they run the route and he catches, that's a huge play. That's a huge play in the game right there. And I that one. Quarterback makes some questionable reads sometimes. I don't think he sees always great all the time, but that one's on the receiver for not getting inside.
I could see that.
Yeah.
Well, there's been a number of those plays where right at the moment it seems like his energy's going down and he's not paying enough attention.
Yeah.
There's like an awareness question I have right now about Lamb.
Yeah.
And to the adding talent thing, when you look at the box score, you had 2 wide receivers even get targets yesterday. And the offense looked good and the passing game looked good. Like, you're depending a lot on throwing to the running back, throwing to the tight ends, and that's really, really nice. But do you have another wide receiver? I know when Noah Brown's in there, he's somebody you trust to an extent, and he would have probably had some targets yesterday. But for as good as the offense looked, you have 2 wide receivers that you even targeted yesterday. So you're telling me
You have
when
3 tight ends that can catch too.
No, for sure.
Yeah.
But when you're talking about
helps.
making it definitely helps. But when you're talking about making a move at the deadline and bringing in some talent, you could probably use a wide receiver here.
Yeah. Me personally, I'll take somebody that's a difference maker on either side of the ball. I seriously, just give me somebody that's a difference maker. And I mean, I'm willing to pay for it. And I can't tell you the position. I can't tell you, but give me somebody that I know with the running game stuff, it's, to me, the running game issues are not talent based. I do believe, and I don't believe they're scheme based. I believe it's playing with technique based, because too many times I've watched now with teams that have been able to run the ball, especially perimeter runs, and whether it's a corner, whether it's a safety, whether it's a linebacker, Dallas is too easily blocked at the point of attack. And they also make some huge mistakes when it comes to play and run defense. And whether you like Fowler, I mentioned him, he gives up a run to the onto the quarterback where he's responsible for contain, and he spins inside instead of outside. And when he spins, it opens up the whole outside.
Too much freelancing.
There's too much. Yeah. He's trying to get, I understand what he's trying to do. He's trying to get to the ball. I get it. But you know, when you're responsible, it happened yesterday too, to Dorrance Armstrong. Dorrance Armstrong is responsible for the width and, the width on the rush.
Yeah.
And what does he do? He starts upfield, and then he veers all the way down to the inside. And then now Fields is running on the outside. Gets a first down, gets like 11 yards running to the outside.
The sacks are worth too much money.
It's
like paying a kid for every home run he hits, and now he's just swinging for home runs all summer.
That's the problem that they have with the run game. And that's why Tank comes on our show and talks about this. He starts to talk about lanes, playing in lanes. Don't get out of your lane when you're playing this run defense. That's the great example of when you guys got like Armstrong going down inside when he's responsible for the outside. When you got Fowler spinning to the inside when he's got the outside, And I say this, when you watch this on tape, when you see this game, it's nothing mind blowing that the Bears were doing to you in the running game. I mentioned the crack toss where you bring the receiver down, you block down with the tight end. They have got to figure out how to not get blocked on the edge and fight those blocks. That's a huge problem for them right now, because teams are just going to they're going to outflank them, and they're going to down block. And it's not like you could down block Micah Parsons and control him, because you're not having to completely drive him out of the play. You're just keeping him from getting to the ball. You're making him have to go through you.
So you're with me that this is going to be the thing that prevents them from getting to the Super Bowl?
They need to figure out. I will say this. I feel like that offensively they're going in the right direction now with Dak.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
But the thing about it is, though, the run game stuff, if they're going to allow teams to down block them all day and they don't fight back across the face, they did it. I mentioned on the toss early in this football game, the first 3 and out the Bears had. Ball was tossed to the outside. you get everybody's blocked, and then all of a sudden, though, you get a force from Anthony Brown that forces the ball back inside to Curse, and then you get a small gain. If they don't do a better job of playing blocks on the edge, and I mean fighting across the face of the blockers and then stringing things out, yeah, they're going to have problems in the running game.
Well, they're giving up nearly 5 yards an attempt now, and that's not huge in today's NFL because, as I've been saying, the run is back. But, it's like the Bills are amazing, and I think if they could get a handle
the Bills are going to beat anybody.
But they could be there.
Yeah.
The Cowboys have every component. Now that the passing game is, I think, in rhythm, I think they have every component to be a version of the Bills in the NFC if they could get a handle on this run defense.
Your next big test is going to be Minnesota, I believe. That's going to be the big next test to see, and we'll see if Minnesota is good enough. But Dallas is getting beat on guys on blocks that they should be able to handle. The down blocks, they've got to do a better job of crossing the face of blockers and keeping that outside shoulder free.
So I heard Hagee's tease already for tomorrow, and it's, he's the KNC masterpiece. Could the Cowboys' run defense be solved by trying less hard for sacks? They lead the NFL in sacks. Everybody's hunting them. Of course, you got to step up if you're Trayvon Diggs, and you got to set the edge better if you're the. Especially
on the 4th and 1, they could have got off the field. They could have got off the field on that 4th and 1 if Diggs was just a little bit more aggressive going to the inside. He just does not want. There's times where it's like it bothers him when he misses a tackle because you see the next play he's able to make. He made a nice running across the field tackle, but on 4th and 1, Quinn called the right defense. They slanted right into what they needed to do to play the defense. They were ready. They had a guy. Diggs was the unblocked guy on that defense, and if he steps up, they make the play. They're off the field. That's the difference between winning in a playoff game or not.
Yeah, absolutely.
If all of a sudden they don't run the ball inside on a 4th and 1 and they try and toss it, and you have a chance to play the edge and set the edge, and you don't.
All the Niners do that. Every single defensive back on San Francisco will do that to you.
The defensive backs, the safeties, the linebackers. I'm just saying this is not just Micah Parsons' problem either. You've got to figure out how to get across the face of these blockers when they're down blocking you and trying to shield you out of plays.